welcome to another week of the Super Intelligent Podcast. We are so happy you are here. I'm Emily Forlini, and I'm here with Mike Elgin. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm here in El Salvador, the beautiful and charming country behind me.
You couldn't be more beautiful.
Coatepeque. It's so beautiful here. It really is. And so we're very happy. We're here with really great friends, all amazing people, all listeners and or watchers of this podcast. They're all big fans. So it's been fun listening to them talk about our podcast and what they like about it and so on.
Thank you for listening, everyone who I haven't met. Thank you so much. And I hope to meet you one day.
Yes. So I heard a rumor from you that you're mad at Google, which is interesting to me because I'm mad at Google and or Apple. But first, let's talk about why you're mad at Google, and then we'll talk about why I'm mad at Google, and then we'll talk about how Google is going to rule the future.
Which is one reason I'm mad at Google. So there you go. So I don't know if I'm mad, but something I've been really thinking about quite a bit for 2 years and kind of came to a head this week. So with the AI overviews, it is really affecting the internet and all businesses, whether it's a publication that relies on a website, whether it's your local HVAC business that relies on a website, whether it's a huge corporation spending tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands on ads on Google. Like these AI overviews are just rocking the internet-based world. And it's not because they're doing the function of those things. It's because the placement on Google pages, like search pages, is taking up the whole thing. So people are loving AI overviews and they're not visiting websites anymore. And this is something that I predicted and is just definitely happening. So traffic to websites is down 40%, which is huge. So we're seeing more
specifically media websites, right?
Yes, media websites, but also I think it's loosely defined, like just kind of content that's not AI. Like I said, like your HVAC company might have something about how to clean your furnace, or like just any information that's not been sucked in by the AI and like sausagized and spit back out to you.
Oh, I love that word so much.
Yeah, it's just AI sausage, AI soup. I'm working on a food metaphor.
The sausagization process is quite vexing, actually.
Yes, separately. I do like to try different types of sausages. I don't know. I like kielbasa. I mean, I'm up for it all.
You don't want to see it being made, though. That's the cliche.
Yeah. So we're just consuming a huge amount of AI sausage on a daily basis now. It's so convenient for people. It's right up there. I just read some AI sausage today. We're taking it in. And the reason I got mad this week is because it actually started to affect my company, and we had layoffs directly related to AI overviews. And so It kind of induced this feeling of dread of just, what the heck are we going to do here? Or there's going to be a big transition period.
Yeah.
And it really felt really real this week. And it wasn't a huge layoff, but I mean, so we have like PCMag, ZDNet, CNET, Lifehacker. I mean, tons of publications under Ziff Davis. And it was just kind of like bits and pieces here and there, 2 people here, 3 people there, 1 person here. But it was directly because of AI overviews on Google reducing traffic, which is, I could go on and on, but that's my intro.
So here's let me recap what's happening in the starkest terms that I can muster. Google and the other AI companies have been hoovering up the hard work by people like at ZDNet and everybody else, all the
and
journalists, the authors, me, everybody, and they've taken
every
that content,
person's reviews. If you write a Google review or if you write anything on the internet, they're taking it.
They just take it, and then what they're doing is that they're pushing aside the sources of those content, the people who are generating that content and the content those people are generating, and they're saying, no, we are the content now. we're going to take what they did and we're going to present it to you, and we're going to monetize it, and they're going to have layoffs, and we're going to be hiring people spending $1 million a person for engineers,
Yeah.
and then this is supposed to be okay. And
There,
that's
we are going to
essentially
monetize it for ourselves, but we're not going to develop an economic model to compensate and the other people and incentivize them to keep creating content. We're just going to suck up what's out there, hope everyone else keeps creating it, and that the wheels just don't fall off someday.
But don't worry, because robots will do all of your personal stuff. AI will do all of your professional stuff, and you can sit around staring at the ceiling, receiving a check from all the wealth that's going to be created. This is one of the theories about how we're going to deal with the fact
UBI.
that nobody has to work anymore because AI does everything exactly. And so there it is. This is happening, folks, and it's we don't have an answer for it. They don't have an answer for it, and we don't know what's going to happen with all this. The reason I'm mad at Google is, and then we'll get to why Google's not going anywhere. The other night, we were in San Salvador. We had an amazing dinner at an incredible restaurant. San Salvador is the biggest city in the country. And it's difficult to drive in San Salvador at night. I guess it's by law, the headlights are very dim. So the only thing you can see when you're driving around is other people's headlights.
They're too bright now near me.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not that nice because the car we rented from this very small company tints the glass. And so at night, I can't see shit when I'm driving around. It's like really...
That's good
perspective.
Anyway,
so I'm driving an SUV. Everybody else is in a van. I'm trying to follow them for a 90-minute drive out of the city and through the country. And right when they take off and they lose me in a roundabout, I just have no connectivity, and Google Maps just absolutely doesn't work. So I'm just in traffic at night with no ability to navigate. I have no idea which direction they're going and all this kind of stuff. And then I went to my wife's cousin's house to use their Wi-Fi. It didn't work even with Wi-Fi. I couldn't make calls. And so
did you have to speak Spanish when you washed up on the shores of their house? I just want to know how discombobulated you were.
It's a funny story, actually. They were having a huge party, and I didn't have time to do all the introductions and say hello and how you doing and say hi to everybody and all that stuff because I was in a hurry to get to where I was going. I was carrying a bunch of food. It's a long story, but I just pulled up next to their house and used their Wi-Fi because I already had the password. Anyway,
you didn't talk to anybody.
I navigated across the country in the darkness all the way to this place, the old-fashioned way, without Google helping, without being able to make a phone call, nothing. Anyway, that's why I'm mad at them. Now let's talk about why they are going to rule the future. Nobody realizes the degree to which they are sitting on the biggest advantage there is, because right now the way we use chatbots, the way we use AI, we think of them as chatbots. They replace search engines. They tell us trivia. They do spreadsheets for us. We know about agentic AI. What we are not really confronting as a species is the fact that the way we're all going to be using AI very shortly as a personal assistant. And by personal, I mean very personal. An assistant that knows all about us, knows our preferences, our history, our friends, our location at all times. And we're going to be interacting with this agent through glasses. Okay, this is 100% going to happen. And the first salvo in this, which brought all this to my attention, is that Google came out with a feature of Gemini called personal, what's it called? Personal something or other. Personal.
Oh, unified intelligence?
No, I'm going to cut all this so it sounds... No, I'm going to cut all this later, so it sounds like I knew what I'm talking about. Personal intelligence. Yeah, personal intelligence.
I think you should keep it.
Yeah.
No cutting.
Okay, I'll keep it. Okay, no
it's
cutting.
It's all buzzwords. Yay. We don't want to have any obligation to know them. Come on.
Yeah. It's what you said, but not necessarily unified. Anyway, what this is it's simply, they've given Gemini the ability to use a small portion of the data that Google already has on you. So you basically give it permission. This is a feature that's being rolled out. You probably don't have it yet. Within 2 or 3 weeks, you probably will have access to it. And it'll look at your photos. It'll look at, let's see, what else? It'll look at Gmail. I've been using Gmail, I think, since the 1940s. I mean, I've been using
Since
Gmail
the G
forever.
started. Yeah.
Exactly. I had it before they had the letter G. Um, I mean, literally every word, every number, every price, every comment, everything in Gmail, Gemini will have access to. And
Right.
so you can do things like, you can say things like, well, one of the examples that Google gave is that you can say, yeah, hey, I want to get some new tires and I want to get it pretty quickly. And it won't even mess around with any other questions or anything. It knows your car, it knows your tires, it knows where you bought tires before, it knows everything. And it will just say, here, go here,
Mhm.
because your Prius uses the kind of tires that's having a sale right now. And so this is just the beginning, because the fact is that Google knows everything about you. It's far beyond what they are currently giving permission for in personal intelligence. They have access to all the things, everything in Drive, every presentation you've ever given, all the Google Docs documents you've ever written, your contacts, your location
Yep.
history. It just goes on. They have everything. And
And they've
so
been
this will be
waging that
applied.
war for a long time. Like, think about how much more and more and more data we've given Google. I guess
Yeah,
particularly the younger generation, people don't use Word docs. They use Google Docs.
right,
Like, it's
right.
Word, the whole Microsoft suite has just been slowly dying and is surviving on corporate contracts. But what's going to happen when that younger generation that grew up in school using the Google suite, they're going to found their own companies, and those Microsoft contracts are going to whoop go away. And by the way, Microsoft's AI Copilot, the people who have to use it right now
Yep.
at work because they already have the corporate contract, they don't like it. So Microsoft is in a precarious situation, and Google has
Uh,
just been mounting this offensive for decades. And it just, I mean, we talked about them last week too, but it just feels like they're really, the power is building and they're really getting somewhere. They're probably thrilled about it, but
yeah. And you were talking about the younger generation, and I'll lump you into this because you do this too. They're using Google Calendar for everything. And you do too. You throw me a
what do you
Google
mean?
Calendar invite. People who are your age and younger use Google Calendar for, like, let's go grab a beer, and they send a calendar invite. I
Well,
read an
it
article
doesn't
about
have to
how
be
huge it is.
Google. I do it in my Apple phone too. Like, it's just the idea of having a digital calendar. Yeah, I guess.
Yes, but the point is that there's another rich source of data, and so
Hmm.
the two things that are happening is they're going to be rolling out over the next months and years. Okay, how about permission for this? How about permission for this?
Hmm.
And then it's going to be glasses by the end of the year. They've got glasses. They've got
Hmm.
glasses that they're going to sell. They've got glasses that Samsung's going to sell. They got glasses that Warby Parker's going to sell. It's going to be just, in my prediction, is going to be just like the smartphone market. It's going to be Google and Apple. It's going to be Google mostly through their partners and their operating system and their API and their all that stuff, and then it's going to be Apple. Apple has less data on you than Google, but more trust. So you're more likely to tell Apple,
Hmm.
yeah, you can take all this stuff. There's high trust for Apple, and this is
Right.
the part people aren't talking about in terms of advantage. People are thinking about how powerful is your LLM. They're thinking about these other factors. Well, super powerful AI, generative AI, is going to be a perfect banality, and we're going to get to the point where the only two things that matter are: do you want to wear the glasses, and will you give them the data, or have you already done that? And
Right.
so for some startup, or for OpenAI, which has low trust, or for any of these other companies, for them to try to get the kind of data that Google has and Apple can get, forget it. Well, a perfect example is Amazon, which bought the Bee product, BEE.
Yeah.
We've talked about this
Saw that.
before. It listens to everything. Okay, nobody wants Amazon to listen to everything. The way they put it is basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. They put it in a nice, warm, and fuzzy way, but basically they said, well, in the same way that we have total surveillance in your home with Echo, we can have total surveillance when you leave the home with the Bee. And
Hmm.
so nobody wants this, right? So they don't have a prayer. They've never had a
Okay.
good product for.
Yeah,
AI.
Amazon's not doing so hot. I will say with all of
No,
these products though, people don't like the idea of it, but in practice they reveal their preference of using it. And yeah. So people
well,
like
I
to
mean,
rail
so,
about the Echo stealing their data, but then it's like, yeah, but I love to set a timer with Echo. I love to put music on. They do it
but
if
that's
it's
shit
convenient.
data. Right? Your timer, how
Right.
long you spend boiling an egg is not useful.
This guy's
And
obsessed with
so
timers. We should show him timer products.
exactly, send them an alarm clock. So no, but it actually reminds me of Amazon because one of the biggest advantages, and this is an underappreciated advantage that Amazon has always had. I mean, let's face it, like everybody uses Amazon because they got my credit card anyway, and I know it's going to be here tomorrow.
The
It's
delivery
such
is
a
getting better and better, faster and faster.
it feels like a trivial thing, the credit card part. But if I have to go to some other website and order something, I'm like, oh, got to enter my credit card number and what's the 3-digit thing on the back and what's the expiration date. Well, no, that's not the right expiration date, and and it's just like nobody wants to do that, and so they're like, yeah, just get it on Amazon. And so this is what it's going to be like for Google when everybody wants to use highly personalized assistants on their glasses. It's going to be like,
Mhm.
I don't want to give permission to this other company. I'm just going to use Google because they already know it. They
Mhm.
already have it. It's not a question of whether I trust them. It's that ship has sailed.
It's just, yeah, they wanna lock you in. So we know this. Everyone's familiar with this for a long time. But
Yeah.
one thing a lot of people don't know is that Google and Apple just signed a huge deal this week, I think it was, maybe last week, this week. This is very hot off the press. But basically, Apple, over the past couple of years since ChatGPT came out, has had to reckon with the fact that it's not good at AI. It's good at design, it's good at hardware, but I mean, we know Siri is not good, and Apple AI products just haven't really hit. They tried to launch Apple Intelligence. It kind of just no one knows what it is. It's not really working. So they've reshuffled all their executives, hired, fired, moved this and that over here, over there. They hired a Google guy as their new AI chief. And lo and behold, a couple of months later, they have signed a huge deal with Google that Gemini is going to provide the AI model for all Apple AI products. So
Yes.
that really accelerates what you're saying because Apple has the trust and the reach with all those hardware products. And I'm sure. I mean, Apple is coming out with smart glasses, so
Yeah.
now Google's going to have their data sucking AI, and they're going to be in all the Apple products. So Apple says that they'll, keep the data. They're not going to sell it, but I don't know if I believe that.
I mean, what's really happening? It's actually it's a complicated story, but the way to look at what this deal entails is that Apple is going to be basing the AI parts of Siri on the stuff that Gemini is based on. So it won't be really using Gemini. And
Hmm.
again, it's you're going to be dealing with Apple's data center and Apple's take on Gemini. It's basically going to be an Apple flavored version of Gemini. But what you're saying, like you think about, who's going to win the LLM wars. The answer is Google is going to win it. Google has already won it essentially because as we've just outlined, all the Apple, Google's going to be profiting from the AI on every iPhone and every Apple device. The Samsung devices, Google is going to be profiting from the AI in those. The Google devices, of course. The Warby Parker, I think, am I getting this wrong? Warby Parker has to deal with Google, right? Yeah, but I think the smart glasses market will again look just like the smartphone market, where it's Apple and the Google platform, and that's how we're going to mostly be using
Hmm.
these personal chatbots we're talking about. And so they win that part of the AI world. And it's just really been breathtaking because remember when people were putting glue on their pizza and everybody was laughing at Google for their hideous AI, and now they're just killing it.
Mm-hmm. And it might not be glasses. I maintain I don't want to wear glasses every day, but there are products like necklaces. There's actually a one coming out of this company. It's founded by this really interesting 25-year-old girl in San Francisco. I've been kind of tracking her. She came from Apple, but she's making a necklace that looks very similar to a necklace I'm wearing right now, actually. And so there could be a world in which I would prefer that product. So I know you're really excited. Are you excited about this smart glasses future, or are you not? I actually can't tell.
I'm neither excited nor not excited. I mean, I'm kind of personally excited about using these products, but mostly I'm just certain that it's going to be glasses and to a lesser extent watches, and that people will not be buying their jewelry from
Hmm.
startups, and that
So
people will
you're
not be
excited to be
pinning
right.
things through their clothing. I'm always excited to be right,
Yeah.
and I just I think that it's one of those things. There's certain types of technology, VR is one of them, there are a bunch of others, that you don't really get it until you've done it, and once you've done it, you're like, "Wow, this is like, I totally get this," and when people get AI glasses, the kind with a screen, the kind without a screen, the kind with a camera, the kind without a camera, but they have the speakers right next to your ears, the visual information right in front of your eyes, wear them all day, just information just being dripped into your brain, the ability to conjure up anything without hands. Once people experience that, this idea of this thing dangling from their neck is just, what if it's cold? I don't know. It's just, I don't buy it. I don't think necklaces have a future. I know that pendants don't have a
Well,
future.
you
Nobody's
don't
pinning
wear
anything.
necklaces.
We're not
You
generals. We're
wear
not, we're not
glasses.
North Korean. We're not North Korean generals. Well, but I know people of a certain dorkiness who have perfect vision and wear glasses because there's a chip in it and
Mm-hmm.
AI. Um,
I
but
didn't tell
but
you
I do I
the dorkiness. I saw someone on the train. Remember how I was like, I've never seen anyone with AI glasses? We had a whole episode about how I thought they were dorky. And I am yet to see a non dorky application. At the risk of
right.
this being unlikable, I'll just tell this story. But I was on the train and I just saw like the dorkiest person ever wearing meta glasses and just so hunched over his phone. Like he just looked like someone who lived in an absolute cave of technology, popped out like a mole, got on the train, went to his tech job in New York. Like his eyes were just burned into the screen and he was wearing the glasses, hunched, dandruff. Like it just was not a good look. And I just wished you could have been there.
And you
I just
thought
would
of
have loved.
me.
I didn't think of you. And I was like, I don't want to be too judgmental, but this is what I was talking about. So until it gets more mainstream, we're going to need some role models here. Like, you know, if it's going to go anywhere.
For sure. And I contend that they're going to be very fashionable. They already are starting to slightly become somewhat fashionable. But once they look like regular glasses, once every single glasses, 6 billion people in the world wear glasses every day. This is not an exotic platform. And once, the rate of miniaturization is just incredible. 2 years ago they couldn't do it. Now they can do all kinds of things in 2 years from now. It'll be incredible what they'll be able to do in terms of shrinking down the glasses and improving the batteries and all the rest. And I just think that it's going to be a standard option when you go get glasses at Costco. It's like,
Yeah.
you want the smart
Yeah.
ones, you want the
I
not.
believe it.
And if you want smart ones, you want this or that and the other thing. And it's like, it'll just be a checkbox. And look at cars, right? It's like cars 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, the idea of just everybody connecting, displaying their phone on the dashboard in some rational way was kind of unheard of. Now it's, standard even for rental cars. And so I just think that it'll change very quickly. And I really do I think it'll be mostly glasses for adults and mostly watches for teens and children, especially children. China's led the way in that. They're what is it? Oh, huge percentage of Chinese children wear smartwatches that parents can track them and stuff like that. Huge. I mean, it's more children in China wear watches than there are people in Germany. I mean, it's a gigantic phenomenon. And so I think that's going to hit everywhere else. So I think that's going to be it. And I just don't believe in the necklaces. I'm sorry. I don't. but we'll
Right.
see.
Well, we'll
I'll
see.
bet you I'll bet you $1 that in 5 years, um, necklaces don't have more than 3% of the market.
Well, it just depends on what market you're talking about, because if you look at Aura rings, nobody would have thought those would have taken off, but women really like them, and many more women have an Aura ring, or at least that I see, than an Apple Watch. So I do think there is room. Aura proves there's room for other form factors for certain people, especially women and just different groups.
But this is another reason why I don't believe in necklaces. If you have an Aura ring on one of your fingers, you don't have to take off your wedding ring. You don't have to take off the other ring that you have. You can wear 4 other rings and still have the Aura ring, and it's fine. If you
Right. But
have
what if
an AI
okay.
device as your only necklace, or if you want to wear another neck, you're not going to wear a nice necklace plus an AI necklace. I mean, who's going to do
Well,
that?
what if you have your job requires it? You know, maybe you work with children and you are running, you're bending over a lot, or you're gardening, you're doing manual work. Let's say you're a construction worker. I mean, glasses cause problems. You might need a form factor in a different form factor in other scenarios.
I think it's the opposite. If you work in a construction site or in a factory, those are the leading industries of using smart glasses. Because you have safety glasses, right? And you can just make those smart, right? But where the
Yeah, but that's
necklace,
not
if you're
personal. Like that's the different data feed to Google, unless Google decides they want to get into that business. And then the
and they
factory has
will.
to buy more expensive smart glasses. I mean, you might be right, but it might take a lot of time. I mean, that price would have to be so low for a factory to do
They're
that.
already partnering with XReal, and XReal makes glasses for industry. They're sort of their toes in that water. And Google Glass, back when they killed Google Glass, they didn't really kill it. They basically uh, killed it for the consumer market, and they had the enterprise edition of Google Glass, which, as far as I know, still exists. And they were using it at Boeing and stuff to build planes.
But those
think
are all
smart
just
glasses.
isolated PR incidents. It's not like everyone at
Mhm.
Boeing is using
That's
smart
a fair
glasses.
point. That's a fair point. Absolutely. But I just think that if you're working in a factory or you're doing construction, to have a necklace is worse than glasses. I mean, this thing dangling, people are going to strangulate themselves.
What about a choker? Who knows?
Uh,
But okay, there's something to look
although
out
you can
for
call
with this.
911 with your voice alone. A choker. Yeah. A choker. That's great. Yeah. A
Yeah.
choker.
But so there was a great
That's
article.
perfect. A smart choker.
Yeah, it'll be trendy. It'll be 90s. Okay, I want to tell you about this article in Futurism that I think you would really find interesting. And it was about, that have you heard the whole AI delusion thing? Like people driving themselves crazy, talking to chatbots. Have you heard about all those
Yes.
stories? Yeah.
Yes.
So there's one, I think it's the first one of someone who drove themselves crazy or exacerbated an existing mental health issue with smart glasses. And one of the main issues he said was it was on his face all the time. So he was talking to the AI all the time. And the headline is so good. We could put it in the show notes, but it's something like he wore smart glasses and found himself wandering the desert looking for aliens. And
I
it's just
saw
like,
that headline. Yeah.
you did? Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
But not good is it completely destroyed his life. Like
Yeah.
his kids and everyone who knew him, he just became distant and he kind of lost his mind for real because he was talking to the AI all the time. So that's something to look out for.
So that's comparable to the fact that there was social media, and then when social media became primarily a smartphone thing, it became a much bigger problem because you always had it with you. It's
Right.
kind of like that. If your AI psychosis requires a laptop, okay, well, at some point you have to get up to go to the bathroom or whatever. But if they're on your face, you never have to
You never
stop
have to.
being present with this thing that doesn't exist, this person that isn't real.
And that's exactly the argument of those
So-
people I interviewed who have switched to flip phones. That's their number one thing, is that it just reduces the always on availability. And they think that Not the technology itself. They just think the fact that it's always available has become unproductive for them. And it certainly did for this guy. It's kind of like if you feel like the tech is running you, you're always looking at it. You're not getting to your to-do list. You're not doing your hobbies. You're not calling your friends. You look through your camera roll, you haven't done anything in a while and you're like, what am I doing? And maybe you realize, oh, I'm kind of looking at my phone all day. And those people had that realization and they were just like, yeah, I just want to minimize. I want to put that in a box, use it in a way that is the most maximum productive to me, and then just do other things with my life.
Yeah, and unless he finds aliens in real life, and then in which case he's the one going to be laughing and we're going to be sorry.
That's what he thinks, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, but I can see that actually there is a dangerous component to it, which I noticed wearing Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which is that you wear it for a long time, and notifications pop up, and it will tell you that somebody sent a notification. It'll read it to you, or give you notifications, read it to you, and then it'll give you turn-by-turn directions and all this kind of stuff. And it really kind of feels like these are your thoughts. It
Hmm.
doesn't feel like there's a speaker blasting sound through your ears. It feels like it's originating from the center of your head in a
Hmm.
weird way. And so I
Hmm.
can see that. I can see people losing their minds with this, too much of this,
Interesting.
especially if it's just nonstop chatter and they have no people to talk to.
And really importantly, they have an existing or are on the cusp of having a mental health problem. So, for
Yeah.
example, a lot of mental health issues, you do hear voices, and now you really would with this. But okay, I
Yeah.
want to ask you, do you believe in aliens?
I believe that the universe is most likely teeming with life. I also believe that most of the sightings are not aliens. Uh, Probably all of the sightings are not aliens. I haven't seen compelling evidence. I've seen a lot of interesting evidence, and of course, it's become much more mainstream now to look at the tic tac shaped things moving in ways that physics doesn't allow, and all that kind of. I'm very familiar with that whole genre. My mind is as open as I can make it, but I just am inclined to not believe something because I want to believe it, or because there's something. If it's something I don't know what it is and I don't know how it works, and nobody's holding it in their hands, I tend to believe that our brains are so good at coming up with a story when we see something we don't understand. And so I think that's the more likely explanation for these. So I'll have to say, since you asked me a yes or no question, I'll have to say no. How about you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm a no. I just, I'm not really compelled by those weird videos of the object zigzagging across the sky erratically. And yeah, I don't even look at it. I don't enjoy that stuff. I'm just in general more interested in the ocean. Like I'm not as space oriented. I kind of go the other direction, and I would be really interested in things like there's no comprehensive map of the ocean floor, for example. I think that is worth exploring, like, more than space. That's so I don't really do space.
Well, actually, the idea that extraterrestrial intelligent beings live in the ocean is this is one of the trends that
Is it?
has been popular in the last 10, 20 years. There's another
Hmm.
one that they're multidimensional, so they can move in and out of dimensions. And in fact, Steven Spielberg is making a movie which I call Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Um, but he's making a movie where this is the kind of alien that's in this movie, is that they're
Love it.
multidimensional. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
So,
like, I remember I had a birthday party growing up, and we watched Atlantis. Like, I still remember that. I love
yeah,
that stuff, underwater worlds. I love the fact
yeah,
that seaweed forests store carbon.
yeah.
All the fish and the reefs and the volcanoes and also the vast emptiness in the ocean. There's just so much there that we don't it's here with us, so we don't have to go on a rocket ship to explore it. Or that news story about the wacky billionaire who took those people in a submarine. What was
Yeah,
that? What was that
briefly.
movie? what did he call it?
I don't remember
The Titan submarine. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I didn't love that
yeah,
they died,
so close to
but
Titanic. Yeah,
well, they were
no.
looking for the Titanic.
It's a humane right. It's a humane way to die though, because the implosion happened so fast that the impulse from human nervous system can't transmit in time to even have the slightest microsecond of registering that something bad has happened. It's just lights out. So if you got to go, that's not too bad. Expensive, but not too bad. Anyway, so I like that idea. Exploring the oceans. I also like the idea of exploring space. But I just think that I used to. There used to be this software product that did this whole extensive map of where sightings occurred and when, and you could go
Mhm.
through the years and the decades of the 20th century and see where they popped up. And it mapped perfectly. I think I wrote an article about this at the time. It's a long time ago, but it mapped perfectly with the chatter about flying saucers in the culture. So it would start with, you know, American kids in the Midwest reading, science fiction pulp publications. And when they started reading those things, well, all of a sudden there were all these sightings. And then, that spread to sort of Latin America. And then once they were reading those kinds of things, then they started having those sightings. And you see it spreading around the world along with the culture, and not spreading where that culture didn't exist. And this actually goes back to, remember, I think that we are doing a podcast in part because we did another podcast where we're talking about flying saucers in New Jersey,
Yes. Hey,
right? Remember
drones.
that was the origin
That was
story of this
our
podcast.
drone gate, our first fight that brought us together.
Yes, exactly. And so what happened with that? Did we ever get the truth? And so it's always they never quite get there, right? They never quite get to the evidence. I've always been exercised about the fact that Area 51 is like, oh, it's a secret government facility where they have aliens and they have, the wreckage of spacecraft, and people have seen all kinds of crazy. Yes, of course, people have seen crazy things. Like, it's an experimental military. The top secret flying things are tested there. That's why you saw weird things flying there.
That's my drone theory, is that they were there, just the government was testing drones that people were like, what the heck is in the sky? And the government also leaned into conspiracy theories to make people look like idiots so they didn't have to give up their war technology. Like, they didn't want to disclose it. So I feel like that. Now I sound crazy. Okay, fine. But it could be true.
No. Well, no, I actually think the part that I disagree, or I don't disagree, we don't know, it's either true or not. But the thing that I suspect is that I don't even think the government's trying to misdirect anything. I think they are testing top secret. I mean, the Ukraine war made drones the future of warfare. And so
drones are huge.
All the major military manufacturing countries are scrambling to improve, and be ready for the future drone war that everybody expects.
The people just
testing
don't know
these things at military bases. Well, but then our allies are using flying objects to spy. We are spying on them with drones. They're spying on us with drones. Now we got experimental drones in the sky. We have our adversaries' drones in the sky. You have reports of people seeing things in the sky. So people put their drones in the sky. And
we had the spy balloon. Don't forget that
spy balloon,
because that thing was crazy.
I missed the spy balloon. Well, that was a real spy balloon, and so
that was real. That was real. Can you believe that was real? That was real of all the things.
And China was like, "Oh, us, we would never do such a thing," and they keep doing that all over the world. By the way,
the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but so anyway, I need some real evidence before I'm gonna buy any of this stuff. And again, there's a new documentary. I saw it. It's just anyway. Don't get me started. I think. Well,
I'll say
it would be.
Go ahead.
I think it would be fun for us to revisit this, probably in a couple of months, maybe the anniversary of.
I mean, it's been a year.
Before, so. Okay.
I think since this conversation, but I will, unrelated to drones, related to sea and space exploration, and also maybe drones. Just I feel like there was a whole era in history when there was so much more physical exploration, whether it was the 1500s, exploring the New World, or like the 1800s. There's really great explorer stories, and it was a huge feat to get a crew and go out and find the source of the Nile, or find the Arctic, or find something physical, this geographic exploration. Or even when you look at reports of in the 50s or 60s, the first time went to space, there was so much pride and it was so cool to get out and go see the world. And now I just feel like everyone just wants to explore software, and they want to be like that guy on the train in their basement, beeping and booping and, using this and that AI and a virtual reality lens over it. Or, I mean, the metaverse didn't take off, but our digital worlds we're exploring. And I just have this nostalgia and this craving to go back to people exploring physically. And it just feels healthy, maybe, to have more of a balance. Right now is just, that's not a thing at all. Exploration.
Right.
Physically. Yeah.
And by the way, speaking of drones are one of the most magnificent technologies for exploring the world, because you can put a camera right up there in places where a person can't go, where you can't climb into caverns you can't or wouldn't want to go into. And so that's a great use for drones. Drive out into the desert, fly that drone into some weird thing, look for all kinds of relics and interesting things. I think that's fantastic. People can do a lot of that
people
stuff.
do it.
And
they go hiking, camping, they do travel. Not everyone can travel as much as you, the way you've set your life up. The vast majority of people, though, just constraints with work, constraints with money, just lack of cultural influence, are at home using technology. And it's a shame.
Yeah. I went to this is a semi-aside, but we all visited a town called Santa Ana, and they have an interesting church there, and they had a big sign of all the things you couldn't do in the church for the visitors. With the circle.
Everything.
With
you can't do anything.
Don't wear a bathing suit.
You can't do anything. Yeah.
There's what it looked like, no picking your nose, but it was actually, that was going,
I feel like you could pick your nose.
I think you could. Be discreet about it, please.
Picking for God.
One of them was no drones inside the cathedral. And I'm like, wow, that is a great idea. I mean, could you imagine just shooting video inside a cathedral with a drone? That's I suddenly added that. I never wanted to do that before, but now I do. Now that you told me I couldn't do it,
especially in Sagrada Familia. Have you been there, Barcelona?
Oh yeah,
so cool, and it's so different lights. Like, it's kind of like modern, almost neon-y lights at times, just really bright stained glass. It's not the old dark traditional. So that would be a good pairing for the drones.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll leave this to a future thing. I got to get going. We're going to have cocktails in a minute, and so I got to run.
Yeah, your light is like you're just in the dark.
Exactly.
It's completely changed.
Exactly. Right. Isn't this strange? I think.
Cool.
The sun went behind the volcano. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I want to once again thank everybody for watching and or listening. And we're very happy that you're along with us on this journey. The people who like us really like us, and the people who don't like us never heard us. That's why they don't necessarily like us. To know us is to love us. So give us 5 stars and a magnificent rating and a long and glowing review. Don't use AI, please, to write the review. It should come from the human heart. And so we're so glad you're here. We'll probably see you next week. I think there's probably like a 90% chance we'll see you next week. So thank you for listening, and take care. And friends, don't let friends use AI to write for them.